What up, world? We're
What
here on
up?
a Friday. Coop, how you doing, brother?
I never sleep. Sleep is the cousin of death.
That was a great episode, by the way, man. I might go back and watch that episode of Ozark again.
hmm
Yo, man, I'm gonna wait till everybody gets in the room because I know we got a lot of Steph fans in our as
Right.
our subscribers. So I'm gonna wait till a few people get in the room and we'll really get on it. But I know you was hitting me up like crazy last night.
Well, you know who I was hitting up first was that my guy Andrew, who I do the other podcast with, the Mirror Music podcast. He hit me up like Steph's going nuclear right now, and I actually this is in the first quarter. I hit him back, Mike, and I was like, I don't like it, and he was like, he was kind of like, what do you mean? I was like, Tatum's not playing well, and Steph is out there busting their ass. They're going to lose this game unless somebody else comes along for the ride.
Shout out to
Nobody else
everybody in the
came along for the
room.
ride.
Nas the Goat says the Warriors play like shit. And rightfully so. All the stuff that I say here on online, I say on my social medias and stuff too. So a lot of Warriors fans was hitting me up in that first quarter, like like
Keep that
Steph is
energy.
here, like final Steph is here. And I'm sitting there like, y'all really think he's going to be able to do this in the second, third, and fourth quarter? I'm waiting to see the fourth quarter. That's pretty much what it is for me because that's where Steph has shown that he disappears, and last night he disappeared as well. No shocker here. And again, I'm not here to gloat. I like Steph. Steph's one of my
Sounds like you're
favorite
here,
players
brother.
all time. I hope that I'm wrong, but he said it wasn't Steph though. Well, who was it? Because here it is. You got 21 points in the first quarter, and you're only up by 4. So right then and there, nobody else has it going but me. Not to mention, I don't even want to get into the fact that 5 out of those 6 threes he hit in the first quarter, he was wide open. That's a whole nother thing. And they start playing defense on him in the second, third, and fourth quarter. When they start playing defense on him, he only gave us 13 points after that. I'm not even going to go there. But at that point, that's when 21 points in the first quarter, and we're only up by 4. I'm going to have to give us 50 tonight. Bottom line. Because how many of y'all thought after that 21 in the first quarter, how many of y'all thought he was about to hit us for a 50 piece? Y'all think 34 is acceptable in a 15-point loss? Come on, man. I'm sorry, man. You got
Um,
to, and then, no, not to mention now, I'm going to let you talk. 0 points in the final 6 minutes, and the last points you scored, y'all were actually winning? Y'all really think Kobe would go out like that? At home. Y'all really think LeBron would go out like that? Shit, y'all even think Wade would go out like that?
so now I am going to step in and I'm going to go a step further than that. I actually thought to myself, KD didn't even go 6 minutes dry when he was down 3-1 to y'all. Y'all were just better and kept on busting him. Like when OKC was up 3-1, it wasn't like they had 6 minute droughts without scoring the ball. That's almost impossible when you have an all-time great player, unless they're playing like an all-time great defense. Now, whether the Celtics defense remains to be all-time great remains to be seen. But here's what I know, is that he followed up the best finals quarter of his career with the worst finals quarter. So he finished the half with 21 points. See, he finished the first quarter with 21 points, but he finished the half with 21 points, which means for the next 3 quarters, he really only got 13 points, like you stated.
And then the
So when
second
they
quarter, he
ran,
got 0, like you
right,
stated. You can't do that.
right. And so when they ramped it up and put a body on him and got physical, and herein lies the problem. And there's a few problems going on, and it's very problematic for Golden State right now. And I usually don't like to over-exaggerate a game one, even though I did pick Boston to win this series. Well, nobody shot the ball well except for Steph. And when I looked at it, that wasn't because they didn't have looks. Some of that was just because the guys that Boston gave open looks to were the people that they're going to keep giving open looks to, because Boston's a smart defensive team. And they've got their mind made up pretty much that it's like, no, like Clay and Poole are not going to be your right-hand man in this series. Like, we know you're going to get yours. And so now we're going to see what Golden State's adjustments are going to be. But for all of this top 5 and top 10 talk, oh, you can't go the last 6 minutes without scoring against a team that's never played in the finals, and it's literally the average age is like 24, 25 years old. And this is NBA Finals number 6. It's like you can't do that either, but the stat line looks good. The stat line looks like 12 for 25, 34 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, 5 or 6 from 3. So it's like when you look back on it, it'd be like, oh, well, Steph had a great game. What happened?
That's the problem, Coop. And see, people do that about all of his finals. All of his finals look like this. This is why he has no finals MVP. Everybody want to go back and go to Basketball Reference or whatever website they go to and look at the numbers on the page. Yeah, the number at the end of the game on this page is going to look good at 34, but you're not going to see in the second quarter he had 0. You're not going to see in the final 6 minutes where the team actually made the run and came back and beat them at home, he had 0. I'm sorry. Those things don't matter at this point.
It doesn't matter. Hold on. It really doesn't matter when Boston's best player only shoots like 20% from the floor and only gives them 12 points, and they run you out your own gym. Like, it's a problem because I mean, here's what I don't think people are expecting. It's like, well, Steph is going to have to up his game. It's like, well, what happened if Jason Tatum goes and gives you a 40 or a 50 piece that he might be prone to do in this series? You know, like, he's good for that too at this point.
Well, let's be realistic. I don't think Boston's going to shoot like they did last night. They went crazy.
No, but Jason Tatum, like you said, Tatum's to have a game like that. Like, yeah. What if this was the team game that they won, and what if game 2 is the Tatum game, and then they're going to Boston 2-0?
Yeah, man, and that's going to be tough going to Boston. Nas the GOAT says Steph can't do it all by himself. Shaking my head, Mike and Coop. Well, you know what? You're right. That's exactly what I've been saying
last night. No, like literally, I said after the first quarter, I texted Andrew and I was like, I don't like it because somebody's going to have to come along for the ride with Steph. Because really what happened too is because Steph had to carry such a load early and pretty much carried the load coming out the gates in the first quarter and the third quarter. About halfway through the fourth, he was gassed because nobody else came along for the ride. Hence why he didn't score the last half of the fourth quarter.
But see, this is the thing, man. You know, the NBA's been around 75 years. We've had like some of the greatest athletes to ever play this game over 75 years. Hundreds and thousands of people who played this game at a high level. And y'all want to tell me he's one of the 10 best to ever do it? It's impossible. Because people who are the 10 best can put their team on their back. And like you said, Steph can't do this alone. He's proven that he can't put a team on their back and carry them over. And I don't want to mention Michael Jordan, but do you see what everybody else's stats look like in that flu game? They won that game, by the way. The man had the flu or whatever he had, food poisoning, whatever he had. He was weak. He wasn't himself. He had 43, 45? Look at the stat line of everybody else. No one's sitting there saying, someone needs to help him. No, greats carry their team when they need to. And that was a point where he had to do that last night. They were right there. Let's not sit here and act like Boston was shooting them out of the arena the whole night. They were in position to win.
Well, here's something that happened last night, too, that people need to kind of take note of. Well, how often has Golden State played somebody physical like this with their brand of basketball?
Exactly. No, you're right.
Because Marcus Smart got physical with him, and Jordan Poole never came back after Marcus Smart got physical with him. About 2 or 3 times, he was pretty much like, yeah, nigga, what? And it was a wrap from there for Jordan Poole for the night. Clay is older, slower, not fully recovered from injury, may never really be the same player again. Andrew Wiggins comes and he goes. Draymond and Looney can't shoot. We have a problem. I know it's only a game. We have a problem. But that's what I was saying. The problem was, and here's where I might have been wrong. Oh, Jaylen Brown might end up being better than Joe Dumars, man.
I was telling you. Jay Short says a lot of similarities between Boston and Toronto team, the team that won the chip. Long, athletic players. Yeah.
They actually remind me of the last Boston team that won a championship. It's like they got about They got two guys that can definitely go get you 30 points if you need to. On the previous team, that was KG and Paul, because I don't think Ray could consistently give you 30 anymore at that point.
Mm-hmm.
But if you ask KG or Paul to at that point, they could have. And you had a team that collectively played defense, was anchored well, and coached by a tough, black, no-nonsense man. Like, it's very much similar to the 2017. They just don't have a Kevin Garnett defensively, like somebody who is all-time great defensively.
Well, I mean, yeah, you're right, but they do have the defensive player of the year, just like that
I was
other
about to
team
say,
did.
and guess what they had that year? Kevin Garnett, the defensive player of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the
so
GOAT
they do have
says,
an anchor in Marcus Smart, even though he's not an all-time great defender, in my opinion. But that could be changing before our eyes. Not a lot of guards have won Defensive Player of the Year.
Nas the GOAT says Steph is a team player, and that's his downfall. I mean, people say
And
that about LeBron, too.
So he's a point guard, so that's his job. That's why I keep bringing up Isaiah in those two championships that, like, clearly he was the focal point and fulcrum of.
Magic was a team player, too.
Yeah.
And whenever Magic had to turn it on, and whenever Magic had to go in there and play all 5 positions or hit a game winner, he was able to do that. That's
Magic's
the thing.
different.
And we're not talking about, like, end of the game heroics for ego purposes. When you have to put your team on your back and you understand, like, listen, I'm one of the greatest players ever. I'm the best player on my team. We got 2 minutes. I need to pull this out.
Well,
you got to be able to do that. And Steph can't do that. He can't do it.
It's not fair to talk about Magic with the other point guards, because when you talk about Magic, you really need to be talking about him like with Bird and LeBron and Mike, because that's like the stratosphere that really he's somewhere else that the other point guards aren't, including Steph and Isaiah. Okay?
Of course. To me, man, and
so that's not conversational.
Man,
like,
with the super chat says
the same. Like Steph is looking at buying property in the neighborhood that Magic Johnson helped build.
Man with the super chat says, where is Steph in the second and the fourth? Nowhere, no show. And see, those are the things that when you talk about those point guards that you're talking about, I'll say this. Steph is the greatest greatest shooter I've ever seen all time, hands down. But when we talk about the greatest point guards ever, I don't even put him in the top 5. He doesn't even play the point guard on his own team.
I still have him third after
How?
Magic and Isaiah.
He doesn't even play the point guard on his own team, Coop.
Hold on.
Draymond is the point guard of that team.
Let's unpack a couple things. First of all, we're talking about a guy that does have, I believe, like 7 or 8 All NBA selections. He has 2 scoring titles.
Cool.
No. He has 2 scoring titles. He has 3 championships. He has 2 MVPs. One of them, I'm sorry, his credentials. I get what you're talking. He's
talking
not
a point guard.
No, I know what you're talking about. Okay, so it's like this. I always tell people this all the time. Well, if you are picking wide receivers and lining them up, and Randy Moss and Jerry Rice are right next to each other, if you take Jerry Rice over Randy Moss, I'm going to look at you and laugh and beat you that day. Now, if we talk in the next 20 years, you got me. But that day, if you take Jerry and I take Randy, I'm going to beat you. You're talking about the eye test of what you're seeing.
You're talking about 2 different things. I see what you're saying, but this is more of like picking Michael Vick at quarterback. This is what that is. You know what I'm saying? We're talking about abilities outside of the actual position. This is where Steph lies. And I can't say, even though I think that...
Iverson?
Huh?
You think he's more Iverson then? Is that what you're saying?
I do.
Ooh.
I do.
Iverson got 4 scoring titles and an MVP.
Yeah. Iverson's not a real point guard. And he's not even... We don't even talk about Iverson with all the shooting guards, even though he is a shooting guard because he's so undersized. But Steph doesn't even play point guard for his own team.
No, I have him usually somewhere like around 5, 6, or 7 with shooting guards like all time. It's clear that it's like Mike, Kobe, and Wade and Jerry West, and then people had James Harden ahead of Iverson, and so did I, but that's proven to be false. So we're just gonna slide AI back up to number 5. Slide James Harden back down where he belongs.
That's tough. I get it. I mean, I love AI. This is the problem with AI.
It's not that hard for me to do that.
No. This is the hard part when it comes to AI. It was so difficult for him to get a shot. You know what I'm saying? And regardless of how you feel about James Harden, I'm not a huge James Harden fan either. I'm a bigger AI fan, but it is so easy for him to get his shot. You know what I'm saying? As a shooting guard, James Harden could just go right by you, whatever he wants
No,
to.
I think
He could step back, but the way Iverson had to get his points, it had to be so much dribbling going on. Had a lot of standing around going on because he has to do all that dribbling, pump faking. It's so tough for him to get his shot off. It makes it very difficult for me to say just hands down, certain people he's over from the shooting guard position. He
that's a
actually
hype
holds a
thing.
better argument at the point guard position because he could show his dominance up against another 6'3"
I mean,
guard.
okay, so what I would tell you is that James Harden is a better passer than Iverson, and
Better
that's
shooter too.
it.
He's a better shooter too.
I mean, he's a better pure shooter, but he's a better shooter and he's a better passer. But he's not a better scorer. He's not a better player. He's not better like anything else. Like nobody in their right mind. That's what I mean. That's one
He
of those
doesn't
things.
shoot for
It's
better
like,
field goal percentage.
no.
He
I
has
mean,
to.
Iverson was never a great shooter. I think his career shooting percentage is like around 43 or 44, 45%. So it's not like he was some sort of masterful, efficient player. But if we're talking pound for pound, like at his height, which is like relatively close to our height, like yeah, I'll take that because I've never seen anybody be able to do that at that height, including Isaiah. Like Isaiah couldn't score like that consistently night after night and take that beating like that and score like that. Not even Isaiah could take that beating and like score like that. You understand what I'm saying? And Isaiah's a better pure scorer than Iverson as a shooter, but Iverson's tougher and took more of a beating than like any player
I
I've
don't know
probably
if
ever
he's a better
seen.
pure
He's
scorer.
got as
I
many
mean,
scoring titles as
Iverson's
Kevin
like top
Durant.
three.
He's got as many scoring titles as Kevin Durant. Do you understand that?
But Iverson is top 3 all time when it comes to point average too. I mean, it is what it is.
Is he top 3?
Yeah, it's like Jordan.
He's top 5. No, he's top 5. I think he's top 5
did it
now.
fall?
I think
Because I always thought it
LeBron
was
and Durant are ahead
Jordan.
of him now.
No, I always thought it was Jordan, Wilt, and Iverson.
No, that's what I'm saying. I think.
But
LeBron
I mean,
and
Durant
are
hasn't
ahead.
gone through his washed up years yet either. You know what I mean? Like, so we gotta
Durant's
factor
not going to
that.
have. Hold on, Mike. Durant's not going to have any washed up years.
You don't think he's ever going to get to a point where he's not averaging what he's averaging now? It happens to everybody.
No, he's going to average 25 to 30 till it's done. Like LeBron, they're different.
Okay.
Yeah.
But back to my original statement. I don't view Steph as a point guard because, again, he doesn't play point guard on his own team. You can't be an all-time great point guard when you're not even the point guard on your own team. How does that even work? How can you justify him being a top 3 point guard and Draymond's the point guard for this Golden State team?
I get what you're saying, but his classification as a player and his classification when he's going to go into the Hall of Fame and all other things that he's going to be eulogized for, Mike, it's going to be as a point guard.
I understand what you're saying, but you understand what I'm saying, right?
No. That's like that. Okay, so I mean, like Scottie Pippen was the point guard essentially of like those championship teams, especially the second three-peat. I mean, but how's he going to Hall of Fame as a small forward?
But he also no. They also
how's LeBron going in the Hall of
No,
Fame?
hold on.
LeBron's more of a point guard than everybody in the league except for Chris Paul.
They also give Scottie Pippen all kind of point forward credit too, right?
Listen to what I'm saying though. LeBron James, for his career, has been more of a point guard in this league than anybody with the exception of Chris Paul. Is he going into the Hall of Fame as a point guard? And he's a better pure passer than Paul is just because he's taller so he can see the floor better. Like
okay, it's the position he plays, whatever. But I'm saying to you, how can you say that he is a top 3 point guard all time and he's not even the point guard of his own team?
Because he's changing the way that the position gets played because of his shooting ability. He's a game changer. Just like Magic's height changed the game for point guards and changed the way we look at it forever because of what he was able to do vision-wise at the position because of his ball handling skills at that height and side, but also because of how intelligent that he was. Like Steph's shooting is a comparable feat to like Magic's height vision combo
Well, is
because of
he?
what he done.
Let me.
No, because of what he's done to stretch the floor. Because like, did you see what happened? It's like no, when you come off a screen and he is like 5 feet behind the line, like no, you need to be there too.
Let me ask you this though:
That's
how is he
different.
changing the position if Draymond's actually playing point guard? Because
No,
somebody has
that's
to play
changed.
point
No, no,
guard.
no. That's not just changing the position. That's changed the game. How many guys shoot from distance like that now that didn't before Steph? Like when you
You're
look at
talking about
somebody
something
like
different.
Dame.
I'm
No,
talking
no,
about the
no.
position. You said
Hey,
he changed the
hold on.
position.
I'm
You're
going to
not
tell you
talking about
somebody.
changing the game. You said he
Hold on, hold
changed the
on, hold on.
position.
No, no, no. When I mean changing the game, he's changing the way other point guards play. I'll give you 2 examples. One of them is from somebody who I know for a fact he's changed the range on his shot. Kyrie Irving range wasn't like that.
I understand what
I've
you're
been watching
saying.
Kyrie since he was in high school. No, no, no. Don't feed me that. Kyrie didn't have from 5 feet beyond range until he started seeing Steph do what he did. Same thing with Dame. You can go
Cool.
pull the tape of both of them. No, you can go pull the tape of both of them in college and early on in the pros. They didn't start pulling up from 30 until Steph did. He's changing the way the other guys shoot.
Cool. Respectfully, you're changing the subject. You said
No,
he
that's
changed
changing
the
the game and the
no.
position. Is he changing the way other point guards play at a high level? Yes, that's changing the
They're
game.
still having to play the position because they don't have Draymond Green bailing them out and actually playing the position for them. Now, this would be changing the position if he was still able to play the position and do what he's doing. You understand what I'm saying? Because Magic did what he did and was still playing the position. There
I
was
get
no
what you're saying.
Draymond
You're just
Green there
wrong.
to bail
No,
Magic out and play point guard for him.
no, you're wrong. You're
Draymond's
wrong,
playing
Mike.
point
You're
guard
going too
for him.
far. No, you're wrong. You're
He
going too
is.
far. He's changed. He's changed the way that the game operates and the way point guards play because he's changing the way that they think about shooting.
Because he has Draymond there.
No, I mean you can say that less or more if you want to. Change is the change. The guy that gave it is the guy that gave it. Hey, what they say? Don't hate the player.
I don't see how that applies here. What I'm saying is
Game.
he's not an all-time point guard because he doesn't even play the position Draymond does. Nas the GOAT says Draymond is the point guard in transition, but Steph always brings the ball up. Steph is the point guard and changed the NBA forever. I mean,
LeBron plays more point than Steph and Draymond. Is he a point guard? LeBron has led the league in assists, something Draymond and Steph will never do.
has he led the league in assists?
That is correct.
What year was that?
The other year, 2 years ago, Mike, he just got done leading the league in assists. It just happened.
Yeah. Well,
don't hit me with the "and."
I mean, LeBron is LeBron.
Because, I mean, isn't that what point guards do? They're responsible for, like, the assist and the distribution. I mean, LeBron led the league in assists. Did he get classified as a point guard that year when he made first-team All-NBA? Hell no.
Well,
got classified as a forward. The year he led the league in assists, he got classified on All-NBA.
I understand what you're saying. But what I'm saying, Coop, that's more
I don't understand what you're saying.
What I'm saying is that's more of an indictment on your actual point guard than it is the forward. The forward had to go out there, still play small forward, and play point guard. And you want to sit here and say that the person that's playing point guard is the greatest point guard? That's crazy to me. Because no one's sitting here saying...
I didn't say greatest. I said third.
There's no way in hell you're third. No way in the world that he's a better point guard than John Stockton. That's disrespectful to the position.
I mean, he's not a better point guard than Rondo technically, but how is that going to play all time? Who you going to have a conversation with legitimately be like, yo, you know Rondo a better pure point guard than Steph?
He is.
So, he is, and how is that playing all time? No, it's not playing all
Why
time.
not?
He's a better
because he doesn't even play the point guard position.
I mean, Mike, if you want to go there, Mark Price is a better pure point guard.
He is. So once again, I can't call him the top 3 point guard.
But the position's not called pure point guard. It's just called point guard.
Again, I understand what you're saying.
Hold on.
Semantics.
They said LeBron was listed as a point guard in 2020 on the All-NBA team. Hold on.
He was, yeah. I remember that.
He was?
Yeah, I remember
He was.
that.
Well, that was the year he led the league in assists. So he was classified as a point guard.
Yeah, Rondo was on that team too. But anyway, listen, there's no way, based on what the point guard... So are we changing what the point guard position does and what their role is? Like, let's just say you're out here coaching a little league basketball team. What are you telling these kids that point guards are supposed to do for this team?
That's what I
Like
am
Coach
saying
Coop,
about how
what's a
he's
point guard? Tell me what a point guard is. What's my role? What's your answer?
bring the ball up the court and set up the offense. You're an extension of the coach on the floor.
Okay,
That's your job.
That's Draymond.
Bring the ball up the court, set up the offense. You are an extension of the coach on the floor.
That's Draymond Green.
Okay.
And so I can't really call him a top 3-point guard if he never had to do that for his actual team. When all the other guys that we mentioned did.
Listen to what I'm about to say. Listen to what I'm about to say so we can move on. You sound
Some people
worse.
say I have a point. Some people say I'm delusional.
No, you're straight delusional right now. You've gone too far. You sound worse about this than you do about Eminem.
Somebody said that in the chat.
No. Between right,
I'm right about Eminem though.
Between what you've been saying about Eminem and what I've been saying about 50, we're definitely not going to no aftermath brunch. But you're going too far with the Steph thing. I want to go back to North Carolina comfortably.
I love Steph. I think Steph's the greatest shooter of all time. I think he's a great player. But if we talk about the point guard position, I'm not comfortable calling him a top 3-point guard of all time. I could call him a top 20 player all time, possibly top 15. But when we talk about the the point guard position and what that position entails, he doesn't even do that for his own team. So it's hard for me to put him ahead of somebody like Chris Paul when we talk about that position. When we talk about shooting guards, we talk about the people who play that position in the way that they do. The small forward position has always kind of been a transitional position in the league.
You want to know what? First of all, you want to know what things change. So how about this? We need to make a combo guard list, and so I'll acquiesce some to you. I will acquiesce some to you if you will agree. How about this? If Steph's not a top 3-point guard, then as far as combo guards go, he's the greatest combo guard of all time.
Either him or Iverson, I'm with that.
Iverson got 3. I mean, Steph got 3 rings and 2 MVPs.
He's
Iverson's
been on great fucking teams. But ain't no. At the end of the day,
only thing Iverson has is 4 scoring titles over Steph.
Let's break this down.
He's a better defender than Steph.
Let's break this down.
He led the league in scoring and
Iverson took probably the worst team I've ever seen to the NBA Finals. First of all,
no, I'm not
straight up.
Not disrespecting.
And,
you know
and honestly,
about him.
No, I'm just saying I'm not gonna sit here and make that the factor that puts Steph over Iverson. The fact that Steph has just been fortunate enough to be a part of a great organization, been on great teams. He has no Finals MVPs, and the first Finals he won. 2 of the stars from the other team went down. Then he lost a 3-1 lead. Then they went and got KD, won those 2. Toronto, you lost that one. What are we doing? I mean, I'm not going to sit here and down Iverson for that. Iverson in those same positions that Steph win, he would have won all of those too.
I feel that. Hold on. I've said that about
Kevin Garnett in relationship to.
Hold on. I've said that about Kevin Garnett in relationship to Tim Duncan, but it doesn't change where they get placed. Tim Duncan gets placed at number 1, and Kevin Garnett usually gets placed about 4th, 5th, or 6th, even though it should be 1 and 2. So
the difference between those two. Let me finish real quick.
Tim Duncan like that. That was always my point.
The difference between those two and Tim Duncan and Steph Curry. Tim Duncan has shown improved in game time moments. We ain't seen none of that from Steph. What I see from Steph is he's been on great teams. And he hasn't carried those teams when they needed him for them to get across the finish line. We saw that last night. And then when that happens, everybody's like, oh, he had no help. Well, you know what? There's times when Tim Duncan went out there and the team was off and he had to win, and he won.
In a vacuum, if we're talking player for player, if you put them on the court, Iverson would probably do to Steph what Kyrie does to Steph, which is bust his ass, or what Dame does to Steph, just bust his ass.
Yeah.
But in a team sport where team play matters and your resume matters, all things being considered, y'all are talking about pound for pound. You're talking pound for pound, and I'm talking the whole package. If we're talking pound for pound, then yeah, Iverson's the best combo guard ever. But if we're talking about the total packages in like the resume and the actual skill sets and everything that goes with it, then it's Steph over Iverson. You know that.
I'm okay with that, but again, I'm not okay with using championships as those reasons because I think Iverson would have won every last one of those championships that Steph won in his position.
I'm cool. How about this? I'm cool with the fact that since we're talking combo guard, what Iverson shoots for his career from the 2 is about what Steph shoots from 3.
It's
so
amazing.
That's where I got
the
you on the
greatest
combo
shooter
guard
of all
argument.
time.
Huh?
Greatest shooter of all time.
Listen to what I'm saying. What Steph shoots from 3 is what Iverson shoots from 2. We're talking about combo guards, right? So the shooting in it matters, right?
It does.
Their assist numbers are almost identical.
And I think as far as like being a system player, I think that Steph's better than Iverson in that way too.
That's what I mean. We're talking about a team sport, right? So we can leave out of it. We can go with Steph's 2 MVPs, 2 scoring titles, comparable assists, and his 3-point shooting being comparable to Iverson's 2-point shooting.
Yeah. Nas the GOAT says, Mike D, aka Black Skip Bayless, you are hating. I might, you know what, y'all think I'm hating, but when you watched the game last night, did y'all think, you know what, Mike's right? I wasn't surprised. Coop was shocked. Coop was texting me and stuff. I'm like, that's what he does, man. 0 points in the last 6 minutes when your team needs you to come through. That's what he does. That's who he is. Melanin Man says, Coop, I can make the argument that NC has the greatest hoopers per capita of all time. Y'all got Michael Jordan, man. It is what it is.
Yeah, Port City. East Laney.
Michael Jordan's the greatest player I've ever seen. So, you know, it is what it is. And again, I know people, my dad even, man. Like, I mean, I used to watch a whole lot of the regular season games. You get busy, you kind of miss stuff. But everybody, for the most part, who's a basketball fan, they're waiting for the playoffs to start watching basketball. And that's when you expect people to show up. I mean, I don't want to hear no excuses, such and such was off or whatever. My nigga, you had it going. You had 21 in the first quarter. They might have been leaving you a little open. You know what I'm saying? But shit, you seen the ball go in the hoop. What's the problem? Y'all niggas was up. Y'all was up by 15 in the third. Shit, it is what it is. You were at home. You had your home audience. Y'all was up.
Excuse.
6 minutes left. What's up?
I'm not excusing the behavior.
I just don't like people saying, oh, man, it ain't his fault. He put up 34. Well, sometimes you got to put up 44. You know what I'm saying? And obviously 34 wasn't enough. Him getting 0 in the second quarter wasn't enough. Him having 0 in the last 6 minutes while them niggas is draining everything wasn't enough. You top 10, right? Mad Max says, these guys...
See, hold on. So I want to taper the expectations to not what other people think, but what I've been saying is that, well, he's not better than KD, and he's more like a top 15-ish player. And I would put him about 14 or 15.
You know what? He loses this series, and the way that I think this might happen, he's falling. He's falling from that, too. Because, again, I feel like he's...
No, I'll give you that. Hold on. Like, if they lose, like, 4-1 or 4-2, yeah, I'll slide him back into 15-20.
Because it looks like you've really been... You're a great regular season player who's kind of been blending in with great teams in the playoffs.
But he's had some... How about this? You want to know what I did think about? Is that most of his big playoff moments have come in semi and conference finals. And that's the problem. Like that, remember that series against Dame in Portland where he went off? Where he came back and went off? That's probably his playoff moment.
I remember the moment when
he like 37 in overtime or something like that.
Yeah.
Remember that?
I remember when he shot that three over Anthony Davis, like nearly with his eyes closed, the game winner. That shit was crazy. Mad Max says, these guys aren't point guards, they're combos. Steph is a Black Pistol Pete in the modern times, LOL. Pete used to do this on tape, and Mike Steph made Dre. Listen, I'll say this, man. I'm not a big Draymond Green fan, and even when I was rocking with Golden State heavy, I've never really been a big fan of Draymond's game. But I'll give Draymond this, man. He seized the opportunity. When David Lee went down, he stepped up, came in, and David Lee couldn't get his job back. That's Draymond's team. If we keep it all the way above,
hold on. I don't think that's how that happened. That's not how that happened.
That's not how that happened?
That's not how that happened.
What happened?
Steve Kerr asked Andre Iguodala to come off the bench because he just seen how all of that happened. David Lee's injury happened after that, I think.
Did it?
I'm pretty certain. I
thought David Lee went down and Draymond stepped in that position.
No. They asked Iguodala based on what they had seen from Draymond after year one. Kerr pulled him to the side, I think, before the start of during training camp. He just seen how, because Iguodala was running with the first team, I think Draymond was running with the second team, and he just seen how Dre was kind of like running the second team, and he just that basketball eye. He's seen something.
You know what? Draymond's a leader. You know what? He's the leader of that team. He's a leader. He's a natural born leader, and that's probably what Kerr saw. And probably saw that they were lacking that on the court, and they needed him. I mean, say whatever you want about Draymond. Now, he might be the most important piece, second most important piece out there.
You have to be careful when you say stuff like that. It's like, well, he's a natural born leader. It's yes. But I always tell people and let people know, well, there are good kings and bad kings, like the Bible says. You feel what I'm saying? It's like, well, you might be a natural born leader, but are you a good one?
Bill Laimbeer was a natural born leader.
Oh, he was a good leader, though. Because his leadership, like was the ethos of a team that like won like 2 championships that constantly competed. Like they won a lot of games that they shouldn't with their toughness. You know what I'm saying?
Created that environment.
Like Draymond's tough, but Golden State ain't won no championships because of their toughness. You get what I'm saying? It's like, he's a great leader, but what type of leader is he? It's like they haven't won their championships based on toughness. They've won it based on skill and having superior talent.
He's an unhinged leader. Can we say that?
That's not a good leader. A leader who's unhinged isn't good.
You know what? You can't trust him. Again, that's why Steph should actually be the leader, but he's not, unfortunately.
Okay, it's time to get to the rap.
He's not.
You're just gonna keep on disrespecting Steph.
I'm not disrespecting him. I'm being honest, man. Like, who had to go recruit KD? Why did he have to go recruit KD? It's what it is, man. The proof's in the pudding. Nas the GOAT says, Mike, Kerr also sat Steph for too long as well. Well, you know what? Steph can jump up and say, I'm going in, too. He is a top 10 player all time, right? Reggie says, how do you think Kyrie and Durant feel seeing the 2 teams that they left matched up in the NBA Finals? I don't think Kyrie feels any kind of way about it. He knew how great Boston was going to be.
Yeah. Kyrie doesn't have feelings.
Kyrie doesn't care.
Kevin Durant should feel like he needs to be getting rid of Kyrie so he can try to win some championships again. Get rid of Kyrie.
Chelsea says, do you guys have Steph above KD all time? No.
It's ridiculous. It's absurd.
Again.
You want to know what? Where actually KD was ranked all time, right between Akeem and Shaq, I thought was like very, very appropriate actually. Because it's like, well, Akeem's rings mean more. Actually, I don't know. Like that's the conversation for me because I think Durant and Olajuwon is all-time great players. Because just like I feel like Durant is the best offensive player I've ever seen, well, Akeem Olajuwon's the best defensive player I've ever seen.
Well, you know what? I talk about John Stockton.
They're both 2 rings.
Like I talk about John Stockton and his assists.
One MVP.
Like I talk about John Stockton and his assists and steals records that would never be broken. No one's going to break Akeem's block record either.
Yeah, that's not happening.
It's untouchable. When you sit there and look at how far ahead he is at everybody, it's crazy.
No, nobody's that good. Nobody's that good. He's the best. He's the best anticipator of the basketball.
Yeah, in terms of 3,800 blocks in a career. Nobody's beating that.
It's not even close.
No, it's not.
Yeah, he pretty much averaged 3 or 4 blocks every year.
It's crazy. Michael Sanders says
he could actually guard perimeter people, Mike. Like he could guard like he's the first big man that I saw step out and actually like attempt it, like with some like semi-success.
Right.
You know?
Michael Sanders says Steph is a good regular season player, an okay playoff player. He's a great regular season player. I'm not gonna do that to Steph. But yes, he is he's a pretty good playoff player. He's not gonna this is the thing, man. People in my top 10, top 15, these are people who could take over a game and put the team on their backs. I don't think Steph has the ability to do that for whatever reason. I don't know if it's a height thing. I don't know if it's a size thing because most of the people in my top 10 are like 6'6" and over. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, that's just kind of how the game goes. Like somebody put up this meme about how Kobe, when he was 22, averaged 29. And I was like, that's that finals where Shaq averaged 36 and 16. Exactly. Nobody gives a shit
about
like
Kobe people talking about, Steph averaged 26 in that finals where Durant averaged 35.
Listen what I'm saying. Right, listen what I'm saying. This is why I have Shaq over Kobe actually all time. Is because, well, Kobe has 5 rings, right? Oh, I know who the man was on his first three rings, and it wasn't even close to being a question for as great as Kobe was. Do you know how ridiculously dominant you have to have a prime young Kobe Bryant on your team, and it not even be a question of whose team it is? Like he won those Finals MVPs in landslides. Kobe wasn't getting no votes. The closest he came was probably when Shaq got hurt in the Indiana series, and he came through, and I think it was Game 2 or Game 3. Like that was probably like his moment, but it's like other than that, like them first three rings, you see Shaq's finals numbers, it's like 36, 16, 35,
I
14,
slightly disagree
30,
with
and
you,
12.
right?
It's like
I
it's
slightly
almost Wilt Chamberlain numbers. It's Wilt Chamberlain numbers.
without the super scoring and super rebounding. But I know what you mean. Listen, I
No,
slightly
36 and
disagree with
16 is
you.
Wilt Chamberlain. That's Wilt Chamberlain, Mike. It's 36 and 16. That is Wilt
Now,
Chamberlain.
Wilt Chamberlain's like 55 and
No,
25.
you're talking about a couple seasons. He had one season where he
It's
averaged
crazy.
no, listen, he averaged one season, he had 2 seasons where he averaged 50, one season where he averaged 38. Other than that, he's a 30-point per game scorer. 36
No.
and 16 is comparable to Wilt.
Now, y'all can go look up Wilt's numbers, man.
Go
Nothing's
look him
really
up. I know
comparable
what
to
it
that.
is. Wilt's
But what
career
I was
average
going
is
to
30
say,
points a game, Mike. It happened for a reason. He didn't average 50 points his whole career. He had a couple of years like that.
what I was going to say, though, on one level, I agree with you when it comes to Shaq, right? I think that Shaq at his peak, it's not many people that you could even compare to it. Like, if you saw Shaq at his peak, it's the most dominant player I've ever experienced. The shit was amazing. And the only reason I may put Kobe ahead of him is because of it was a marathon when it came to Kobe, right? I think when Shaq kind of fell off the wagon, he kind of fell off the wagon. His durability was kind of iffy because he was kind of arrogant with it, right? Like he even said, if Phil Jackson's not coaching this dream team or this Olympic team, I got turf toe. Stuff like that. And I will give Kobe that nod because of the conditioning he kept himself in, and he was always ready. Similar to the Karl Malone and Charles Barkley thing. I think Barkley was a better player naturally, but I think that Karl Malone put in the work, and I can't put him above. You know what I mean?
No, I get what you're saying.
I
So
put
this is what I'm
Kobe
about to tell
above
you.
Shaq
So this is what
because
I'm
of the
about to tell
work.
you. So this is what I'm about to tell you. And here's why I have Shaq over Kobe. And we're splitting hairs, and we can kind of move on after this.
Yeah.
Well, I'm very, very clear that Shaquille O'Neal was good enough that he led a team to the NBA Finals before Kobe Bryant was ever even in the NBA. That happened, now, didn't it?
He did, and got swept too, though. I think that's
Hold
noteworthy.
on. He got swept by Akeem Olajuwon. I'm very, very clear on what happened.
He got swept, though.
No. We're all clear.
He did his job.
Yeah, he did his thing. I'm also very, very clear that he was the driving force and 3-time Finals MVP of the three-peat dynasty, the Shaq and Kobe Lakers. Yeah. He's the driving force in the 3-time Finals MVP. No. In the one Finals that they lost, the Detroit Finals, he averaged 28 points and 12 rebounds. Kobe shot 37% from the field. So the one Finals that they lost, Kobe's the one that played bad. Shaq still played well in that Finals. I'm not done yet because Shaq's career is not done yet. Then he leaves and goes and wins another championship without Kobe. So he goes to the Finals before Kobe's in the league. He's the Finals MVP and focal point of the team when Kobe is on the team. When they lose the final, Shaq plays well, but Kobe doesn't because Kobe's being selfish and not passing the ball to Shaq like he should, because Shaq still should average more than 28. And he wins a ring after Kobe. Don't get Kobe's 5 rings.
Kobe wins 2 more.
Confused them.
And then Kobe wins 2 more. I mean,
Kobe won 2 more, so he's got 5. But how did he win those first 3?
Shaq.
Right.
No, I'm with you. LP says Dubs and 6. LP still with it. I appreciate the fact that you're loyal and still riding that
energy,
Golden
man,
State train.
Going home. I just want Steph to play with her. Like, I don't want it to be on Steph. Like, because I don't think they're winning regardless. I just don't want it to be on Steph's back. Like,
it's gonna be.
See him come. I don't want you going all Eminem on me saying he came up small. It's gonna be no Rock Nation brunches, no aftermath brunches. Coop can't go back to Davidson. Mike, you know my family helped build Davidson College. My family helped build Davidson College, nigga. Like you're gonna.
Oh, you're biased.
You're gonna keep me from going home. You're not gonna keep me from going home with this rhetoric, Mike.
I feel you. Mad Max says, LOL, KD's not better than Akeem. ESPN had him over Dr. J and Akeem. That was laughable. Dr. J better than KD, too. ABA, NBA, way more accomplishments. Yeah, I mean, Dr. J's accomplishments in the ABA are incredible. LP says Steph got better stats in the finals than regular season. Here we go with these stats again. He
Hold
has
on.
better final stats than Kobe, Bird, Isaiah Thomas. He's not
Hold
top 10 overall, but he's a top
on. We need
three
to pause
point
for a
guard.
second. Somebody said Dr. J's number were better than Kevin Durant's numbers, and that's not true.
I think they might be looking at ABA numbers.
No, even the ABA numbers. That's what I'm trying to tell you. The ABA numbers aren't better. Like
Overall,
points,
his
field goal
ABA numbers are
percentage,
crazy.
3-point percentage. Like pick a number. Like he's a better
Uh,
rebounder, maybe slightly, but that's like it. Maybe like no,
Ray Realms with the super chat
definitely not
says,
scoring.
Ray Realms says, prime Penny or prime Steph. I mean, I got to give it to Steph, man. I mean, I love Penny. Penny was that guy, man, but, Steph changed the game. And Penny had Shaq on his squad, too. So,
I love me some
I
prime
love
Penny.
Penny, man. Penny was, I had the shoes, I had the jerseys, all that, man.
I was a Grant Hill guy because I'm a Duke guy, but yeah.
I love Grant Hill, too.
Yeah,
Matt
Grant
Max
Hill was
says,
I was actually Grant Hill then Penny.
I was more Penny than Grant Hill. But yeah, I love them both. Mad Max says, laughing my ass off, Shaq ain't over Kobe. Kobe was 22 when he played with Shaq. Kobe wasn't in his prime. Shaq dominated off refs not calling offensive fouls and playing against whack centers. You know what? That's an interesting statement because I will say this, and I think Shaq was incredibly dominant, and even in Orlando. But when Shaq hit the peak of his dominance, David Robinson was no longer here. Patrick Ewing was washed. Hakeem Olajuwon was done. So, for somebody to say that, I mean, it's not an off statement, but it's just part of life, right? I mean, we could say the same thing about the Bulls, and I'm a Michael Jordan guy. We could say that the dynasties of the Lakers and Celtics were done when the Bulls had their run. They might not have won 6 in a row like that.
Mike, that's almost how these things almost always happen.
Yeah, it is. That's life.
People come in and take the reins when reins are ending.
Yeah.
That's how it goes. You have your run. Isaiah had those 5 straight conference finals and those 3 finals appearances. The team was tired and beat up. A team is supposed to come and take those reins.
We might be seeing that right now.
I mean, I hate to say it, it's kind of barbaric, but it's like, you gotta go kill an old king and go
We might be seeing that right now with this young Boston team.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They just beat KD, Giannis, and playoff Jimmy.
Mm-hmm.
And they got Steph on the platter. They serious.
Listen,
they're a problem moving forward.
I'm gonna say this, and y'all gonna think I'm trolling again. In the finals, in the fourth quarter, give me Jimmy over Steph. In the fourth quarter, yes. Give me Jimmy buckets over Steph.
How about this? People forget this. How about this? You know when Wilt won those 2 rings, right? You know who was getting old when he won those 2 rings, right?
Yeah.
Bill Russell.
Yeah,
Bill Russell was there first. Bill Russell played for 4 years before Wilt came along. Mm-hmm. And then it took Wilt about 4 or 5 years before he won, I think 6 or 7 years before he won one.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't win that second one. Like, Russell was old when he won that second one. Like that's kind of how it happens. Like, even when Isaiah started winning, even though Isaiah's comparable age to Bird and Magic, he didn't start winning until they had started going to multiple finals. Those teams were more tired than his teams because his teams hadn't made it to the finals yet. Bird and Magic been playing in the finals since 80, 81. You know what I mean? Isaiah didn't start making it to the finals until like 86, 87. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. We're going to get the B-Dot's top rappers of 2022 list in a second, too. We promise. I'm going to get to some of these super chats and we'll go ahead and switch off. Matt Max says, them early Lakers ain't even play nobody good. Kobe could say he led a team to beat the Celtics team that was better than any team we played against. You know what? I think that's fair too. I think that Celtic team that Kobe's Laker-led team beat was better than any team that the Lakers had ever beat.
No, it wasn't, because I'm going to tell you what happened, and people forget this. Kendrick Perkins tore his ACL.
He did. He did.
Hold on. Listen, do you know what Game 7 was about? Rebounding, because Rasheed Wallace and Kevin Garnett had tired legs. Kendrick Perkins was the young man on the front line. Yeah. Kendrick Perkins is in Game 7. Kobe don't win that game because Kobe, and here's what I mean about the rebounding. Kobe like 5 for 23 in that game, and they got a lot of offensive rebounds that game that Perkins would have got. And Rasheed and KG couldn't get to him because, quite frankly, they were old and they were out of jumps in their knees.
Ron Artest hit a really big shot, too.
So did Rondo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about for that Laker team.
No, I'm talking about Boston right back. Remember, the game
Yeah.
was over, and then Rondo hit that three from the corner and made it viable again for a
Yeah.
second.
Yeah.
But that was a game about rebounding. They missed a bunch of shots. I can remember looking at Rashid and KG and being like, damn, like they need Perk bad right now. Like these dudes are old. They don't have their legs. And, like shout out to Kobe, but it's like, yeah, Perkins plays in that game 7, like they don't win that ring. No.
Either way, though, I do think that, if we look at it
I remember
historically,
that game vividly. That was a game
that was
about
a great game.
rebounding. It was a great game.
I mean, listen, I think historically, if we look at it, that Celtic team is better than any team that the Lakers got their 5 championships in that era against.
No, they beat the Celtics team. They beat Bird Celtics twice.
No, I'm talking about the 2000s, man. I'm talking about Shaq and Kobe.
Oh, you're talking about Shaq and Kobe's Lakers. Oh, yeah, they beat Iverson and Reggie, and then who else?
And it was Philly,
it's bad that we don't remember.
Indiana, and New Jersey. Yeah.
Jersey, Jason Kidd.
Nas the GOAT says Steph averaged 27 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists. You know what? Steph fans always go to the stats. I'm going to respect your super chat, though. I appreciate it. He says in the finals with KD averaged 30 points, 9 rebounds, and 6 assists. So how was KD much better than Steph?
I didn't say it was much better. I said like literally when I have it like all time, I have KD like 11 and Steph like 14. So I don't have like a wide gap.
Kyrie Pilgrim says Wilt scored 100 points. Nobody talks about the athletic conditioning it takes to do that. The great Kobe Bryant got 19 short using 3-pointers. Respect Wilt's game. For real, man. Wilt's athleticism is insane.
His name is Kyrie Pilgrim. Your real name better be Kyrie.
Mad Max says Shaq ended his career as the biggest wasted potential of all time greats ever. Let's stop. I like Shaq, but you playing a washed up Rick Smits and no names. And Mad Max again says, nah, but MJ beat dudes in their prime. Drexler was in his prime. Peyton was in his prime. LOL. Barkley was in his prime. Shaq got beat.
No, I agree with all those things. Shaq beat weaker competition than Mike. I just
Mad
have
Max
Shaq
is on
above
point.
Kobe. Hold on. I have Shaq above Kobe because that weak competition that y'all are talking about, well, Shaq dominated that competition. Kobe didn't.
LP says the average
and I got
time.
Tim Duncan above. Hold on, and I got Tim Duncan ahead of both of them because Tim Duncan didn't have no right hand the way Kobe had Shaq and vice versa, but he got 5 rings like Kobe and 1 more than Shaq and got here after both of them.
He did get 1 with David Robinson, though.
Like I said, hold on, I'm going to say that again. He didn't have nobody next to him like Kobe had Shaq and Shaq
don't
had
do
Kobe.
that, man. David Robinson's
people
great.
in the back.
No, David Robinson was great.
David Robinson's like, okay, so we talking about 2 of the 10 greatest players of all time, and you bring in David Robinson. We talking about 3 of the greatest 10 players, and you're bringing David Robinson.
David Robinson's easily top 25.
No, he's not easily top 25.
Yes, he is. David Robinson's
What did he do before Tim Duncan?
Other than get
schooled by Akeem
with
the money on the line.
You're not even gonna let me talk. Come on, man. He's a dream team athlete. First of all, you know what I mean. This man was drafted high, went to the Navy for 2 years, came in the league. Go look at his stats. Out the gate, he's like 26 and 13. Not to mention he's second all time in blocks. We'll talk about blocks, right?
For someone who talks about empty calorie numbers and Steph and how the numbers don't matter, never has a center put up numbers who don't matter like David Robinson.
Again,
never.
David Robinson played in the era
a lot of numbers that don't matter.
David Robinson played in the era where Michael Jordan was dominating. When would he have won? And let's keep it all the way a buck since you want to sit here and bring Tim Duncan in this.
2 rings.
And Tim Duncan's great. No. Let's be real.
How his rings look?
Huh?
Against hold on, his competition is Akeem Olajuwon. How his rings look versus Akeem's rings? He's got Pippen on his rings.
Yeah, you know what? Akeem got his when Jordan was out playing baseball. It is what it is.
David Robinson got his when Mike was playing with the Wizards.
Exactly.
It's the same damn difference.
Well, yeah, you can say the same thing about Tim Duncan. You can say the same thing about Tim Duncan.
Smoking more cigars when he was with the Wizards. At least he was playing baseball when he was gone, and the King got his 2 rings.
But yeah, Michael actually stepped down when Tim Duncan was able to come in and get his. It is what it is.
I mean, David Robinson. Okay, so David Robinson, all time for centers, is not in the top 5, and we having like top 5 type of
We'll
talks
talk
about
about
people who
this later, man. You
yeah,
are
he's not a top
wild.
5 center. That's what he's not. Bill Russell, Wilt Chamberlain, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Hakeem Olajuwon, Shaquille O'Neal. Is he in that category? No, he's not.
He's top 10.
No, he's not. It's ridiculous. You're bringing up David Robinson like he's some sort of G.
Wow, you tripping on David Robinson.
Getting embarrassed. He's the one that got embarrassed by Hakeem, not Shaq. At least Shaq was young. What's David Robinson's excuse for getting embarrassed like that in public?
LP says the average.
No all-time great player got undressed like that in their prime, the way that Hakeem undressed him. You understand that? It's never happened to an all-time great player like that. He undressed that nigga live for all of us to see. It's like I never look at him the same. I don't care about those 2 rings. Those are Tim Duncan's rings. You were a side piece.
The disrespect to David Robinson.
It's so
piece. Crazy.
He was collard greens with ham hocks. Wasn't no turkey with stuffing. Collard greens with ham hocks. That's what he was. Side dish. Side dish for those rings. What's up?
LP says the average time it takes to get a ring is 7 years for a star. Mad Max says Coop Bynum was hurt in 08. So we're not going to give the Celtics that they didn't have Perk excuse.
Was Bynum ever healthy?
No, Bynum was healthy in that second. I will say Mad Max is right, and I was actually rooting for the Celtics in that series. That first series, Bynum was out. Second series, Bynum was in. So I will give him that. And they went 7 without having, when they had Bynum in their lineup and Perk went down. It is what it is. DeCarlo says Kobe trips to the foul line were greater than Shaq's. LP says they ran through Duncan, Robinson Spurs, Sheed and Pippen Blazers, and those great Sacramento teams. They had a harder path to the finals. The West did have. Tim
Duncan had to play Shaq and Kobe. That's different than playing Tim Duncan and David Robinson. It just is. I'm sorry.
All right.
Hold on. When you think of all-time great duos, do Tim Duncan and David Robinson ever even come up?
Twin Towers, man. Where you think that came from?
When you talk Twin Towers, we talk Ralph Sampson and Hakeem Olajuwon more than we talk David Robinson.
No, we don't. I don't know what you're talking about. You know what? On that note, we're going to move on.